I'm standing on the edge of the Ardennes, an extensive region of forests, mountains, and rough terrains across Belgium, Luxembourg, Germany, and France. In the Second World War, Allied forces thought the region was impenetrable to tanks and other armored vehicles, and so the French only lightly defended the area. However, it was through this impenetrable forest that more than 1,800 tanks spearheaded a burst through the defenses, effectively invading France, surrounding Allied troops, and forcing their retreat to the north from the ports on the coast. Join me as Wargaming takes a look back to remember Dunkirk and the tank battles leading to the evacuation. May 10th, 1940. 808 tanks, such as the Panzer IV, advanced through the Low Countries and Germany's Army Group B. After a call for help from Belgium, Allies deploy into the country with more than 700 armored vehicles, including the French Saumur S-35 and the British light tank Mark VI. Meanwhile, the Allies lured into Belgium, the Germans trundle into the Ardennes with Army Group A, comprised of more than 41,000 vehicles, in a line more than 150 miles long, making this one of the biggest large-scale movements of armored vehicles in history. 1,806 tanks of all shapes and types pass through the forest and roll west. May 12th, the Battle of Sedan begins. French soldiers armed with anti-tank guns and brigades of tanks, such as the FCM-36, try to stop the German column from progressing, but to no avail. By May 15th, the Germans have captured Sedan and are knifing their way through the unprotected open fields of France towards the western coast, effectively cutting the Allies in two. May 19th, the Allies, now aware of the German forces blocking any retreat to the west or to the south, began planning on this day for a larger evacuation of Allied soldiers from Dunkirk, known as Operation Dynamo. May 21st, the Allies charged south with 2 infantry divisions to Arras with 74 tanks, including 16 Matilda II tanks, several dozen Matilda I tanks, and a number of Saumur S-35 to sweep the west clear of Germans and relieve the pressure on Arras. The Battle of Arras is so fierce the German divisions believe they are being attacked by 5 divisions. Though the Germans lose a number of tanks, ultimately the Allies are forced to retreat back north. May 22nd. 2 German tank divisions deploy towards the ports of Boulogne and Calais to seize the English Channel ports. Shaken by the prior day's tank battle, however, the remaining German tanks are ordered not to advance on Dunkirk, but to stay in reserve. This day, the 1st Tank Division reaches Boulogne, and the next day, the 2nd Division reaches Calais. Thus, the Battle of Boulogne and the Siege of Calais begin. May 24th. Adolf Hitler orders the tanks and motorized infantry to halt near Bourbourg, only 10 miles from Dunkirk. May 25th. Boulogne falls, and the next day, Calais is lost. The German tanks, on their halt order, still cannot proceed to Dunkirk. May 26th. Operation Dynamo begins. May 27th. The halt order is lifted and the German tanks roll east towards Dunkirk. At every village, at every turn, at every post, the Allies battle, keeping the German advance slow. May 28th, Belgium officially surrenders to Germany. There is now little to stop the advance of Army Group B into France and against Dunkirk. At this time, the British and French maintain a perimeter around 30 miles long. May 30th, Germany begins a new operation to conquer France in the south. Both Group A and Group B are deployed for a new offensive. The remaining German tanks are left to try and break through the Allied perimeter. May 31st through June 3rd, the Allies continue Operation Dynamo, evacuating as many troops per day as possible. Try as they might, the German tanks cannot penetrate the perimeter held by the French. After a final ship returns to England with evacuees, Operation Dynamo is retired, and the panzers close in on the remaining French soldiers. Were it not for the spirited Allied defense, with tanks such as the mighty British Matilda II or the well-armored French S-35 to hold what lines they could, it remains likely the German army would have closed into Dunkirk from both flanks, preventing an evacuation and changing the course of history. By land, several nations brawled and fought with these fearsome armored fighting vehicles. From the winding paths of the Ardennes to the assault on the Allied perimeter, to remember Dunkirk, is to remember the sheer strength, power, and critical role of tanks in the battlefields of World War II.